What up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. Let's talk about 5 players the Chargers could target after the draft. Yes, I do know we have not gone through the draft yet, but there's kind of a free agency after the draft, too, to try to fill some gaps that you weren't able to draft players in the draft. So, once again, guys, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about these players. Bolt Bros, let's go. Bolt Bros! All right, guys, once again, appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We appreciate all the love and support. And in the comments below, talk about these players that I'm going to point out that could be great fits for the Chargers after the draft. So let's jump right on into it. Matthew Judon, defensive end, actually from the Falcons. It's funny if you kind of go back to the history of Matthew Judon. Obviously, he was on the Ravens, was an absolute menace over there. Signed with the Patriots, which I really wanted the Chargers to go after Matthew Judon during that time that he was in free agency. And then he ended up going to the Falcons and getting traded over there. Did pretty good. Wasn't basically in a very good defense for the sack category things, but still had 5 sacks. Did have a pick and a touchdown, believe it or not, too. On that defense, he still produced on a bad defense, or at least I should say a defense that was not producing a whole heck of a lot of sacks. So I think it would be a really, really good fit because the guy has been a Raven. The guy knows the Raven way. The guy that basically has also been in a Ravens defense. It makes a ton of sense. Obviously, Jesse Minter was also on the Ravens side of things too. And then obviously Joe Hortiz knows who Matthew Judon is. So I think it would be a really good fit. Now, once again, he is getting a little bit older. He's 33 when the season starts. When I kind of still think a little bit about how that works, I mean, you think, okay, Khalil Mack's definitely up there in age. You got Bud Dupree's up there in age. And then you add another aging type defensive end. He is still producing. I mean, so is Khalil Mack too. So ageless wonders possibly. But at the same side, it kind of makes me feel like late in the season, our edge group got a little bit older, a little bit stiffer in general. They kind of aren't working in as limber going into an 18th game. You kind of want to have that young juice on the edge. And I think that it could be one of those things where you're just putting a lot of age and experience on the edge and possibly won't get, a lot of fresh legs out there too. So I don't know. Maybe my thoughts of it is that Tuli Tuipulotu should really be the starting edge to be opposite of Khalil Mack. But at the same side, you can't go wrong with more experience to add to that edge group too. So I think it's more of a move if we do not attack the defensive end position more or less. And you could add Judon, add a guy who's a veterans guy, the guy that could be a plug and play guy for you first day he comes into there and will know the Ravens defense, or at least I say Jesse Minter's defense for the most part. So what's your thoughts on that? Matthew Judon to the Chargers. I'd like to be able to hear from you guys on that. Moving on. Obviously, this is one that we've talked about, and we talked about even on Sunday. Chargers could still go after JK Dobbins. Maybe JK Dobbins is really just trying to go out there, trying to get the best deal possible and waiting till after the draft to see what teams end up doing. Now, obviously, we picked up Najee Harris. I feel there's a big gap in the RB2 section for us. I don't know if Kamani Vidal is that guy ready to go. Now, JK Dobbins kind of was in a committee situation with Gus Edwards last year. But, I mean, adding him as an RB2, man, that would be an absolute home run for us. But it is a very, very deep draft for running back. So is it going to be a need? I feel we're going to fulfill the need in the draft with a very, very good draft class all around. But having J.K. Dobbins out there gives you that lightning type player, the guy who could take it to the house. Najee Harris could be that very physical guy all around for you too. Maybe it's just kind of changing up from the Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins combo and getting just a different type of physical back with Najee. Obviously, we paid him a fair amount of money to be able to be on this team for 1 year. But I wouldn't mind seeing J.K. coming back, man. And I would hate to be able to see him going back. And I hear rumors of him potentially going to the Raiders and potentially going to the Chiefs. I hate seeing that happen. And actually, I've even seen the Broncos too. So it could be any of the AFC West teams. So I would love to be able to see J.K. Dobbins coming back here. We'll see if he does end up finding his way back here with the team. But bottom line, I would love to be able to see him back. I don't know what he's going to be asking for money-wise or anything too. But I think he's really just trying to figure out what other teams are doing for the draft and if he's going to be an RB1 or is he going to end up being an RB2? I don't know. But love to be able to see 27 back on this team. That would be great to see. So moving on. This one obviously is a fan favorite. Keenan Allen possibly coming back to the Chargers. Once again, it comes back down to, are the Chargers going to fulfill a need in the draft? I mean, the more I'm starting to kind of read on a little bit more in the draft with wide receivers, I think there's a really good shot we could go after a wide receiver. I think in the second round is a possibility with this team. I don't know if we're going to go very offensive heavy again for 2 years in a row, but Keenan Allen obviously would be an absolute plug and play, reliable wide receiver that you're going to have. Even in the second half of the season with the Bears, he still had a very good season and was able to produce. Obviously, Mike Williams is his boy. We signed back Mike Williams to the Chargers. And then also Justin Herbert will probably be very, very happy to be able to have Keenan Allen back to this team. Now, the Bears did also give away his number 13 to another player already. So he did say that he wanted to be with the Bears or go back on the West Coast team in LA. Now that would leave basically the Rams and the Chargers. I could see him as a Ram for sure. I could see him as a Charger if he's going to go that direction. But once again, I think it's going to be after draft type situation with Keenan Allen. Teams are going to go out there and say, hey, look, we got enough guys on our team, but we're filling a need that we need another wide receiver. Now, having Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Ladd McConkey, and then you got Quentin Johnson, you can kind of still see if he could produce as a wide receiver 4, or do we trade him off? I don't know. We've talked about that on our Sunday live show too. So we'll see where it ends up leading with Keenan Allen, but I think it would be a fan favorite to be able to see him back on this team. So want to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below. Now, moving on. It's another running back, which maybe a little controversial, but Nick Chubb, obviously in 2023, gruesome knee injury. And it sucks to see that with a player that like Nick Chubb, a guy that was an absolute stellar player. Even in this photo, he seems like he's much smaller from what he was in 2024, trying to come back from that knee injury. Kind of was a shade of what he once was. But at the same side, like, I don't think he was fully healthy. I think the Browns were basically just trying to push him to get out there, see what he could do, see if he could produce and be once the player he once was. And he really wasn't that. But also in the same side, the Browns were not a very good team, kind of a mess organization all around last year. But bottom line, the way I'm looking at Nick Chubb is that he could be a great fit, kind of what JK Dobbins was with us last year. Now, he would probably be an RB2, a physical back, a guy that could take it to the house as long as his knee is where it needs to be. But a guy that you could potentially get cheap, a guy that could potentially be one of those guys of comeback player of the year type guys that like JK Dobbins was. I loved when Nick Chubb was an absolute healthy running back. As you could see in this photo, he definitely looked a lot smaller as a back. He wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't back to wherever he once was. But at the same side, he did post on his Instagram, hitting 500 pounds, just straight squatting that. This guy is going to get back to where he needs to get to. This is a guy where he's showing that his knee could potentially be a lot healthier. The guy's strength is going to be back. I think Nick Chubb would be a good one to be able to just throw a flyer on him. I think it's more of an incentive-based type contract out there. Just say, hey, look, you're going to go through training camp with us. Show us what you got in preseason. Show that you could be that guy and be that physical back that we know you can be. That guy that could be an absolute menace on the field. Nick Chubb would be a good one to just take a flyer on. I mean, once again, it could be one of those guys. You give him just kind of a veteran minimum. And then when it comes down to basically the 53-man squad, you can kind of make a cut or make a decision on him at that point. So I don't know. Take a flyer on a guy that's absolute menace and actually has been one of the better backs in the league leading up into 2023. So who knows? Love to be able to hear from you guys on that one in the comments below. Now, one other guy, past Charger too, last year, obviously, Asante Samuel Jr. Interesting season he had last year. It just kind of made no sense. He was out there starting. Seemed like he was playing pretty good. All of a sudden had a shoulder injury, did have some missed tackles, which I don't think really was looking good for Zont. And then he ended up throwing on the IR, season-ending injury. Never saw the field again after that. seemed like a weird situation all around. But once again, Zahn is one of those guys that I think maybe just didn't fit that physical nature that the Chargers wanted at the cornerback position. Now, I don't know if it was just really he was getting burned, not tackling, taking bad angles and everything too, but the guy knows how to play. I mean, I still go back to that Jaguar game. The guy can make turnovers happen. And I feel like Dante Jackson kind of is that same mold in some ways as Asante Samuel Jr. He's a guy that will take a little bit of risk, will get turnovers and such too. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be one of those where if we don't fulfill a need in the draft, we could go back and try to get Zahn. Now, he's gone and visited multiple different teams. Asante Samuel Jr. has yet to be picked up. I don't know if he's trying to get a massive contract. There were some crazy rumors of him wanting to have big dollar contracts. But either which way, Asante Samuel Jr. could fulfill another need for this team. Joe Hortiz says he always wants more cornerbacks. I think it's always a position of need. So who knows? After the draft, maybe Asante Samuel Jr. will find his way back on this team. But who knows? I think he's a great player. I think he's a very solid player. And I think he's a guy that could just be, once again, a plug-and-play player. Give him a one-year contract. He fits right into Jesse Mister's defense. He knows the defense. Who knows? But I'd love to be able to hear from you guys about these players. Which players make the most sense? Obviously, we're not going to sign every single one of them, but I'd love to be able to hear from you in the comments below. So once again, like the video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We appreciate all the love and support. And once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast.